Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Today I'd like to show you 3 different combos for the new Invoked Magistus support plus a detailed deck profile so you know everything about the deck. For those of you who don't know, there are a couple of new Magistus cards that include different synergies with archetypes such as Endymion and Witchcrafter and provide really good synergies between the archetypes plus the Invoked archetype. First of all, we have Spoon, the CEO of Magistus, which is gonna give you a discard effect to search a Magistus monster from deck to hand. Also, you can have the attack of one face-up monster your opponent controls, which is not that big of a deal, and you can banish this card from the graveyard, target one face-up monster you control, and equip to it one Magistus monster, which can be very good. We also have Crowley, the Gifted of Magistus, which is a very nice card for the Invoked archetype because its name can be treated as Aleister the Invoker. When you add it to the hand, except by drawing it, you can also special summon it from your hand, and you can fusion summon a Magistus or Invoked monster, which can be really strong. We also have Vera Magic Lacrima of Light, which has synergy with Magistus and Witchcrafters. If you control a Magistus or Witchcrafter monster, send one spellcaster or one spell from your deck to the graveyard. When your opponent activates a card or effect, special summon one Magistus or Witchcrafter monster from your hand or deck. Another cool spell card is Magia Magic Thor Hammer. This card can be used by sending one other face-up Magistus card you control to the grave or removing 2 spell counters, and it allows you to special summon a spellcaster monster from your hand, face-up extra deck or graveyard, and banish one other card on the field. This card has synergy between Magistus and Endymion. And for the fusion monsters, we have Zoroa, the Magistus Victorious Beretragna, which is a very cool boss monster. You can target one effect monster your opponent controls or in your graveyard, equip that effect monster to this card. When a monster effect is activated, quick effect, send one face-up Magistus monster card you control to the graveyard, negate that effect, then you can destroy one card your opponent controls. And finally, we have the new Invoked Magistus Omega. If this card special summon, you can target one fusion, synchro, exceeds, or link monster in the grave and one monster on the field, banish those targets. If this fusion summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one level 4 spellcaster monster from the deck, then you can equip this card to it as a equip spell and it gains 1000 attack. That's it for the new support. Now let's go over the combos. Now the first combo I want to show you guys is gonna be with the Allure Queen engine because it allows you to summon any spellcaster from the deck, which is very good. Now it is gonna be slightly better to use the Allure Dance because that can give you 2 extenders for an extra endboard piece, but Palace also works, you're just gonna lose access to one more monster. So we're gonna start by activating the dance here, and we're gonna be grabbing a copy of the Palace, of course, and now we are gonna need to go -2, but that's just the cost that we gotta pay. So we're gonna activate this, and this is not once per turn, so even if we get negated once, it's fine. We're gonna search now the Chaos Allure Queen to the hand, and also we're gonna be grabbing a second monster, we're gonna be discarding whatever else, and now we're gonna be searching the Allure Queen level 3, and the reason why I'm playing 2 different ones is because the dance allows you to special summon one with different name from each of the Allure Queen monsters, meaning you do need to play more than one. So now we're gonna activate the Chaos Allure Queen, pitching the Allure Queen, special summoning it to the field, and now we're gonna be able to activate, of course, the Chaos Allure Queen and equip to it the Allure Queen. So now here we're gonna be able to activate the effect and basically special summon a monster from the deck, and we're gonna get access to the best target, which is gonna be the Ver. And now Ver is gonna allow us to search a spell or trap card, and here we have options. The best one is Lacrima of Light because it allows you to mill a card to the grave. Depending on the scenario, the Viritra can be nice because it's a monster reborn, and Thor Hammer can be a removal as well as a monster reborn or special summon. However, it does cost us a little bit of resources that we currently don't have, so we're just gonna grab a copy of the Lacrima of Light, which is the best one, and now we're gonna be activating it, allowing us to send to the graveyard a monster, and we're gonna go for Spoon because Spoon is gonna give us the additional plays that we need. So now we're gonna activate Spoon here. That will give us the ability to equip a monster, and of course we're gonna go for Artemis, which is gonna end up being a searcher. And because we haven't committed normal summon, we're gonna grab Zoroa, but before that, make sure to grab the Spoon because we can use the first effect of Spoon now. Essentially, we're gonna search Zoroa again. However, the difference is now we have a target in the graveyard, which is very important. So we're gonna summon Zoroa, we're gonna activate the effect, and we're gonna be targeting itself, equipping anything we want. Basically, whatever we need to be equipped to the monster during the end of the turn is gonna be equipped to it now. So we're gonna go for the Exceeds, I guess, because we can just allow ourselves to do that. Then we're gonna activate Zoroa, and we're gonna special summon the target from the graveyard. That is why we go for Spoon earlier. And now before you start summoning anything else, we're gonna be going for the Contact Fusion into Chorozu by using these 2. And now here, there are 2 plays that we need to worry about. Number 1, we're gonna have to go for the Synchro play. Number 2, we're gonna have to go for the Exceeds play. So we're firstly gonna go for the Synchro play using a Tuner and a level 4, summoning the Zoroa Synchro monster. Now we're gonna use it, equipping to it whatever we'd like. We're gonna go for the Synchro because that's a nice protection. And then we're gonna go for the Exceeds using the other 2 monsters. Now we're gonna also activate the Exceeds monsters effect. That will give us a special summon from the deck. And the best target to special summon is gonna be the new Crowley, the Gifted Magistus, which is gonna allow us to fusion summon. And now we are simply gonna summon the new Zoroa Synchro fusion monster, which is gonna allow us to use the effect and equip something onto it, right? So we're gonna be able to equip whatever we'd like. Let's just say we would like to go for maybe a fusion. So we're gonna equip a fusion, right? And then we're also gonna be able to activate Ver from the graveyard, and we can either equip the Goddess, which is gonna give us 2 attacks per battle phase, or we can go for the Link monster. Depending on what we want to negate, the Link monster would be better. And here we basically have the floodgate effect for synchro, fusion, and link monsters. We also have a nice negate plus a removal, which is nice. And on top of that, as I said, you can activate the Allure dance by pitching the palace, and you can special summon the Allure queen level 3 as well as the chaos Allure queen. And now finally we can go into the chaos angel. However, I am locked already, so I can't summon it. Ideally you just summon chaos angel earlier if you have access to that, but the reason why we are locked currently, and I want to showcase that because a lot of people will misplay it, is because of the Exceed monster. Exceed monster makes you locked into only Magistus monster from the extra deck, so you are gonna need to summon the chaos angel earlier through the combos. Now let's move on to the combo number 2. Now I'm gonna show you a 2-card combo using Aleister the Invoker or Magical Meltdown basically plus Lacrima of Light. Unfortunately, Aleister is never a 1-card combo, so that's a little bit of an issue, but essentially we're gonna grab a copy of Aleister with the Magical Meltdown. Now we're gonna normal summon the Aleister here, allowing us to search of course the invocation, and of course we're gonna be able to then link summon into the Artemis, which is what we need to do in order to activate the Lacrima of Light. Now we're gonna be using it, of course going for the same line with sending Spoon to the graveyard. This will allow us to then equip to the Artemis, the another copy of Artemis essentially. So let's just go ahead, activate the Spoon, target Artemis, and equip to it another copy of it, which is gonna allow us now to get a search. But here, because we've committed our normal summon, we're gonna need to grab the Spoon, and that's gonna be a slightly better idea because now we're gonna be able to activate the Spoon's first effect and search a Magistus monster and basically get access to the Crowley, which is aka the new Aleister the Invoker, which is slightly better because the main difference is we're gonna be able to keep the Spoon in the graveyard and have a nice setup as a little bit of a follow-up. And now here, once you summon the Crowley, you have two options, okay? Either you fusion summon or you synchro summon. If you decide to synchro summon, you're gonna use the Artemises on the field and just contact fuse into Chorozo, which is gonna be a tuner, and then you're gonna use this one, go for a level 8, or alternatively you can also Exceed summon and go for Veer. Veer can give you another extender, and then you can do all sorts of other shenanigans if you'd like. However, I'm gonna show you what you can do with fusion summoning because that will showcase the new Zoroa fusion again. So now Crowley is gonna be able to fusion summon into any of these monsters. We're gonna go for the new Zoroa because it's a really cool boss monster, and now we're gonna be able to activate the effect, equipping from the graveyard a link monster, which is not bad, and then we're gonna be able to activate the invocation. Invocation is gonna allow us to fusion summon also into the new Invoked Magistus Omega. However, this is a removal and we don't necessarily need that, so we're gonna go Mechaba. We're gonna use the Artemis from the graveyard as well as the Aleister. And now one thing to note, it is gonna be better to use the Artemis and keep Spoon in the graveyard so you can utilize Spoon as a follow-up. But now we're gonna activate the invocation, bring back the Aleister to the hand, and that's it. We have at least a monster effect negation. Zoroa has the effect where when an opponent monster activates an effect, you get to basically send a Magistus monster card to the graveyard, negate that effect, then you can destroy one card your opponent controls. Plus the Mechaba, you get like 2.5 interruptions. Now let's proceed to the third combo. And now for the third combo, we're gonna be using Zoroa as a 1-card combo, which is now possible, and that's very cool. We're gonna activate Zoroa and we're gonna be equipping onto it the Artemis. Now here, if we have a monster in the hand, obviously we can special summon, but we're gonna pretend like we don't have one. We're gonna activate the Artemis, and that will give us a search again for the Spoon, which is an absolutely broken card. It is so strong. We're gonna activate Spoon now. We're gonna add another monster, and you guessed it, we're gonna search the new Crowley because it's an extender. Even though you don't necessarily need to fusion summon, it is just a good extender. And now here we can fusion summon. However, there are better things to do, so we're not gonna do that. We're gonna Exceed summon using these two monsters for the Exceed 4, and now we're gonna be able to activate the effect of the Reliona, allowing us to detach Crowley specifically and special summon from deck the Veer. Veer is gonna give us a search for a spell or trap card, and here again you have options, but the best one is gonna be the Vritra Magistus because it's gonna give us an additional monster reborn. So now we are gonna be able to activate it here. So we're gonna be bringing back the Crowley, which is why we detached it, which is gonna allow us now to fusion summon, and now we're gonna activate it, and we're gonna be using very specifically two of our monsters, the Exceed monster and the Vera, to the graveyard to summon the Zoroa. Right now we're gonna activate Zoroa. We're gonna equip to it anything. We're just gonna go for the Exceed, I guess. Then we're gonna be able to activate the effect of Vera, equip to it from the graveyard a copy of the Artemis because that's the only target. Now we're gonna be contact fusing into the Chorozo, which is very good, summoning it right here, and now we have 2 level 4s, which means we can summon the Zoroa Synchro monster. And now we're gonna activate the Zoroa Synchro monster's effect, and here whatever you want to be negated, you can do that, but the best one technically is gonna be the Vafram because it gives us a protection effect, and then we can activate the effect of the Spoon, allowing us to target the Zoroa and set basically something to the spell trap card zone equipped to it. And here, if you want to negate Exceed, you negate Exceed. If you want to go Link, you negate Link, so on and so forth. It's up to you what you want to do. I am gonna go for the Artemis because stopping link monsters is gonna be a little more relevant. And we basically have the Fusion Zoroa as a removal and negation, and we have the Synchro Zoroa for Floodgate for whatever 2 out of 4 cards you want to go for. That's it for the combo. Alright, now finally I'm gonna do a detailed deck profile, and the first thing you're gonna notice is the fact that you can play a lot of hand traps, which is a little bit of a downside, but I do want to play a lot of consistency cards because the deck does need them. Firstly, we have Aleister the Invoker with Invocation and the Magical Meltdown, and we also have 1 copy of Mechaba in the extra deck for a target, as well as the new Invoked Magistus Omega. Now usually you do play a second copy of Mechaba, and you can technically cut Chaos Angel and play it. However, because we have access to a Chaos Angel for light and dark, which is gonna make our synchro monsters unaffected, meaning you're gonna get an unaffected Floodgate, which is absolutely crazy. As I showcased, you are gonna be able to make good use of the Chaos Angel, and we still use the Invoked Magistus Omega as a follow-up play if you wanna get game afterwards anyways. For the Allure Queen engine, we have the level 3 and 2 copies of the Chaos Allure Queen with the playset of Palace and Dance. All we gotta do is just get either of the spell cards and it's full combo. For the Magistus cards, we do play the playset of Zoroa, playset of the Veer because they are the best ones, with playset of Spoon because now this is the best card you can utilize. It is just so crazy. We also have 2 copies of the new Crowley, the Gifted of Magistus. The idea is that you search it, not draw it, so playset is a little too much. And also we do have the one of the old Crowley, which can be interesting if you do want to have an additional way to equip a monster. However, it is unnecessary. And for the spells and traps, we have the one Vitra Magistus, which is a very important card for certain combos. We also have playset of the Lacrima of Light, which can set up your plays going first, which is very nice. And also, if your opponent actually activates a card, you can just space summon a Magistus monster, which is very good. And we also have 2 copies of Thor Hammer. Now, I don't particularly love this card because you do need to sacrifice a Magistus monster in order to space summon a monster from anywhere. However, it has a very good removal effect, allowing you to banish a card non-targeting removal, which is pretty good. And we have 5 up to 6 slots for hand traps or non-engine if you do decide to play it. Of course, if you don't want to play Crowley, you can cut it. And now for the extra deck, we start with Chorozo, which is a nice extender. We also have the Saint Iwas, which allows you to steal a monster, and it is a fun and good card. You don't necessarily need to play it, but it is a cool card you can play. We also have 1 copy of the new Zoroa. I do want to play a second one, however, I didn't find the space to do so, but it is a very good card, and I would probably like to cut something to include it. I also play 1 copy of the new Invoked Magistus Omega. However, I really couldn't find a combo that particularly makes good use of this card because you do need to summon it during your opponent's turn as an interruption, and I just couldn't discover a good combo for it. Maybe there is one. I also have 1 copy of Mechaba, as I mentioned, and 2 copies of the Zoroa Synchro monster. Now, one thing that I just thought about is the fact that you can technically cut the second Synchro for a second fusion, because the fusion is gonna be a little more flexible in its use, while the Synchro monster really doesn't mean anything else after the first turn of floodgating your opponent. Most likely you're not gonna use it for turn 3 anyway, so maybe you should switch it for the fusion guy. We also have 1 copy of Vafram, which is the target you're gonna use to equip onto your monsters, and it gives a very nice protection. We also have the 1 Goddess Ninaruru, which is gonna be a nice way to get 2 attacks per battle phase and try to OTK your opponent. We also played 2 copies of the Rileona, which is a nice extender, and it's a very good card to space summon a monster. And we have, of course, playset of the Artemis, which is one of the best searchers in the deck, and the 1 Chaos Angel, which is only for the Allure Queen engine. If you have any other ideas what you can play in the deck, let me know. I would love to get some inspiration as well, but this is what I think would be the best way to play the Invoked Magistus deck with the new support. And also the extra deck is a little too stuffed, which I don't like, but it is what it is. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Check out more Yu-Gi-Oh content in the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.